Greetings, friends and eavesdropping robots. Here I am in my garden. It's quite warm today. I've got the sun on my back, so we'll see how long this goes. I don't know about you, but this Mercury retrograding through Cancer that just ended the direct, actually, Mercury went direct on Thursday afternoon, my time. This was one of the most intense emotional Mercury periods that I can remember. And I have a lot of stuff going on in Cancer, but I know that it's not just me. I spoke with so many people who were really feeling it, whether that was being wrung out or lots of old emotional content coming up for reprocessing. I'm curious how it's been for all of you, because it was really intense for me to the point where I was counting down to the minute when it was going to change. And not that it's like a switch flips and all of a sudden we don't have to deal with all those emotions. That's just not how it works. And we have so much else happening in terms of the planets in the sky and all of that goodness. I'm out here with the bumblebees and the ants and loving this desert willow tree. So we get to close out Mercury retrograde in Cancer, and then we go right into this doozy of a full moon on Wednesday, Thursday, depending, I guess, on where you are in the world, maybe. But this full moon with the sun in Leo and the full moon in Aquarius, the moon itself is conjunct Pluto. And so there's this big opposition between the sun nearby Jupiter and Pluto and the moon. And I don't know, I can already feel the intensity of it. I don't know if you can too. I'd love to hear about it. But full moons shed light on things. And some of the things that have been coming up for me that have been so difficult are around personal power, and where the expectations of others might be misaligned with what it is that I might want or need for my own life, right? So brushing up against those old codependency themes and overgiving and overdoing, but also just this idea around the abdication of power. Like, where do I give my power away? Where do we give our power away? On August 8th, I'm going to be hosting a free listening circle. It's open to everyone. The link is below and in my newsletter. And one of the things that I've been contemplating on over a long period of time is how we thrive even when the whole entire world out there feels like chaos. You know, I started doing these listening circles called Thriving in Divided and Uncertain Times. I started them right after the last presidential election here in the United States, because I knew that we're the most divided that we've ever been, and that it was only going to become more polarized and more divisive. And I was right, but it's not rocket science, right? The writing has been on the wall for a very, very long time. So in these listening circles, I ask a couple of questions, and we're not there to fix or solve. It's not a group coaching container. It's a really sacred space where we get to hear what's real and alive for other people without judgment, without commentary. And so I just ask a series of questions. Whoever feels called to speak can speak. It's not required to speak, but it is required to listen from your heart without judgment. So if you would like to participate in that, please join us. And if you're in a time zone that doesn't work with the offering, let me know, and I'll do one at a different time of day, because I know with the time that I picked, it doesn't work for anyone in Australia and New Zealand and those areas in Asia. So let me know if that's something that you'd like. But what's been coming into my full moon awareness, right, this massive illumination, is, and it relates directly to thriving versus surviving, which is the theme of this listening circle. But what has come alive for me has been around, and this is the phrase I've been really working with this week, is where am I trying to draw water from an empty well? Meaning, where am I trying to receive support or encouragement or vitality or energy exchange is really the best way to call it. Where am I seeking energy exchange in places like wells that cannot deliver because the well is tapped? And that's not to say that there's anything inherently wrong with the well, but it's just not the right time and place to try to be filling my own resource and my own reserve from those wells. And what are the ways that I can recalibrate so that I can find the wells that can fill me? And, it's obvious. Here I am sitting in nature. I'm sitting with my favorite tree. I'm looking out over my yard, which is kind of, I let it get a little overgrown in summertime because the wild tansy aster have decided that they really like my area, and I just let them grow crazy. And in a couple of months, my whole yard will be filled with purple blooms. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll get to see it. But this is one of the ways that I can fill myself. And this is not an empty well. Nature is the most abundant well that there is. But I forgot, and I have been giving my power away. And so we've got this full moon, the sun is in Leo, and the Leo is all about love and personal power. It's the solar plexus. And it's how we shine our light in the world. And when I am scurrying to try to draw water from empty wells, my light gets diminished. And this is a time and place when all of us need to be shining our lights very, very brightly, because it is freaking dark out there. And those of us who are here to serve in that way, which might be just everybody. I don't know why anyone would be excluded from bringing more light and more love into the world. So, but those of us that are willing to heed the call, that are willing to show up and come from that place of love no matter what, we are desperately needed right now. And so if there are places in your life where you are drawing from empty wells and fighting with reality, right? But there should be water in this well. I want there to be water in this well, right? This could be relationships that are out of balance for right now, or it could just also be the way that, in my case, it was the way I was approaching the different relationships and the story that I was telling myself around why something should be the way it is when it's not that way and can't be that way right now. And really reprioritizing and reconfiguring how I wish to move through the world. And this is not a one and done. This is not like you wake up one day and you're like, yeah, I'm going to stop doing that thing. Or I had this absolute awakening and now I'm going to be completely different in the world from here on out. It's a practice, right? It's a practice. But what I'm really coming up to in terms of this practice is, again, like circling back to a new level of awareness. Acceptance, which does require awareness. So yeah, awareness is the first step, but acceptance of what is. If it's really clear that I want one thing and it can't happen right now, I am draining my own well in trying to make something be other than what it is and fighting with reality, when the real work is this work of acceptance and surrender. If that's the thing I want and I don't know how to achieve it right now, can I be accepting of what is right now and surrendered to what wants to come in? Right? That's the question. Can I surrender and allow, this is that famous Joseph Campbell quote, you must be willing to give up the life that you want so as to have the life that is waiting for you. And who's to say that the life that's waiting for us is not also the life that we want? But are we willing to give up the longing and surrender ourselves to a greater process? I pulled oracle cards last night that actually really spoke profoundly to this. And it was actually the same card that I had pulled the last time that I did this particular process, and it was all about like having faith, and that the things that we're working towards, that we don't have the how, we don't know how it's going to happen, we don't know how we're going to recreate our world when this all combusts, and when this dumpster fire gets put out, the dumpster fire of reality right now, we don't know how, we don't know what it's going to look like. But can we have faith in the inherent goodness? I talked about this last week. Can we have faith in the inherent goodness in the ground of being? That the ground of being is not here to hurt us. It's not here to make our lives miserable. The ground of being is neutral, but in that neutrality is inherent goodness. And inherent rightness is maybe another way of saying that. And can we have faith in the ground of being, in our collective consciousness, in humanity's potentiality for love and creation? Can we have faith in that? And then can you have faith in your own individual journey? Like, this is it. Like, this is not easy. None of this stuff is easy. It's not easy right now. And if something is easy and you're thriving, come to our circle so that you can inspire other people. Hey, this is it. We're meant to do this in community and in connection. So that's why I'm hosting this circle. I'll host more in the coming months. And I'll ask different questions. And we are here to join hearts, to join minds, and to move ourselves out of those old stories where we have given our power away, and really come into grand awareness. Let the light of this full moon, conjunct Pluto, which is all about power, let the light of this full moon, well, hello, that was nice. Let the light of this full moon really show you any places where you're feeling powerless and out of control. And the reality is that we have almost no control over anything except what's happening inside of ourselves. And the good news with that is that that's great, because then we can change how we respond to the outer stimuli of our reality. But can you have faith and trust in this larger process when it feels like everything is on fire? But then look around. I'm sitting here with the bees and the breeze. This isn't on fire. You're listening to this or watching from who knows where in the world. Feel free to tell me in the chat. And if you look around, is everything on fire? And I have something crawling on me, so we're gonna have to switch hands here. Nature in all of its splendor. So this is it. Faith, trust, surrender. Some of the hardest things to do, to master on your spiritual master, much less, I don't even know about mastery, but some of the hardest things to practice on your spiritual journey. Faith, trusting in the unfoldment of processes that are much larger than you, and surrendering to a process that is much larger than you, and surrendering the wants and desires of the small self, of the child self. We are in this profound period of awakening and a reorganization of even what it means to be human. Take that in for a second. We are reorganizing what it means to be human. And no, I am not talking about merging humans with artificial intelligence. I am talking about What if we are on the cusp of understanding and understanding what it means to be human and why we are here? That's lofty. We might not get there, but what if we do? That's going to change everything for all of us. So God only knows what's coming our way. God only knows how long the dumpster fire of life is going to keep going at the way that it is, and how long the power structures that are currently in power are going to exert their influence on this world and potentially on what we're able to create. But the thing that's real is each one of us moving through the world in a place of love. And do you see how the wind just picked up? Do you know what's real? And the wind just came whoosh. This is what's real. Each one of us gets to choose to move through the world in love, in kindness, in grace. So that's my missive for you today. Thanks for listening. Join the listening circle on August 8th. It's Lionsgate, so the energies will be even more potent, and a wonderful time for us to come together in love. And I'll probably also, of course, lead us through a little meditation or energy activation as part of it. So I'll share more about that in the newsletter. Thank you again for being here and being on Team Love. Have a beautiful rest of your day.